we are going to move ahead with our next session, technical session 4, skilling, innovation and micro-entrepreneurship. Micro businesses being on the rise and skill development and innovation being a major contribution to businesses. It would be amazing to see what our moderator and our speakers have to say about it. So for the same, I would request Mr. Ashish Garde, Regional Director, to kindly come up on the stage. He's going to moderate this session. And we have with us the very lovely Mrs. Manisha Verma, Principal Secretary, Skills Employment, Entrepreneurship and Innovation Department. We also have with us Mr. Suresh Todkar, Deogiri Electronics Cluster Private Limited. Mr. Uday Wankawala, CEO, AIC, Rambhau, Mhalgi, Prabodhini. And we have with us Mr. Pradeep Peshkar, Advisory to Ministry of MSME.
I take this opportunity to welcome all the panelists for this very exciting session, the 4th technical session of the day. And this is for me like a dream panel where all eminent members from, like, you think of the organization, they should be here and they are with us here right now. We have none other than the Principal Secretary, Skill Development, Entrepreneurship and Innovation, Government of Maharashtra, Manisha Verma Madam with us. I take this opportunity to thank her because of her busy schedule. In spite of that, she has made it a point to be with us for this particular panel discussion. We have with us Mr. Pradeep Peshkar, who is on the board of MSME, Government of India. We have Uday Wankawala ji, who is the CEO for Atal Incubation Center at Rambhau Mhalgi Pratishthan. And we have Suresh Todkar, my colleague, who is Director, Deogiri Electronic Cluster Private Limited at Aurangabad, India's very first brownfield cluster at Aurangabad, and he is also Director Magic. So this is a exciting panel with us. I will not take we will have the formal felicitation of all the speakers today. I request our anchor to introduce the speakers, as well as we will have the felicitation done right away.
Thank you so much, Ashish ji, and I'm sure the audience definitely wants a detailed introduction for everybody who's on the panel today. So starting with our moderator, Mr. Ashish Garde, who's the Regional Director, MEDC. He's the founder and director of Marathwada Accelerator for Growth and Incubation Council, Aurangabad. He's India's first regional industry association-led business incubator and SME accelerator. He was also the ex-president, Chamber of Marathwada Industries and Agriculture, Aurangabad. He's a member of governing board, Indian STEP and Business Incubator Association, apex body of incubators in India. He has had 28 years of vast experience in sales and marketing of consumer durables at national and international markets. Can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Ashish Garde? Today we have with us Mrs. Manisha Verma, who's the Principal Secretary, Skills Employment, Entrepreneurship and Innovation Department. She's a civil servant belonging to the Indian Administrative Service with nearly 28 years of professional experience in public administration in both policy making and implementation. A graduate in public policy, law, governance and development from Harvard Kennedy School, US and IDX USIX in US, Manisha ji has contributed to drafting some of the most transformative laws and policies in India, impacting marginalized communities, including National Food Security Act, providing protection from hunger, Forest Rights Act, providing livelihood security through land and forest resources rights to forest dwellers, and National Rural Employment Guarantee Program for Right to Work. She's focused on building institutional capacities and ecosystems for excellence and innovation. Can we have a big round of applause for Mrs. Manisha Verma? Next up on the panel, we have Mr. Suresh Todkar, Deogiri Electronics Clusters Private Limited. He's an instrumentation engineer, graduated from COEP in 1985. With an industrial experience of 5 years in process control, his first generation business started in 1990 at Aurangabad. He's the founder of SS Controls, working in electricals and automation field, manufacturer of control panels exporting to 30 countries, working with leading multinationals in electric field, EC member of Industry Chamber CMIA since 2014. He's also the founder member of CMIA's Energy Cell Incubation Center. He's also the magic and founder of CMIA's Electronics Brownfield Electronics Cluster. Can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Suresh Todkar? Next up, we have with us Mr. Uday Wankawala, CEO AIC Rambhau Mhalgi Prabodhini, and he's also the CEO of Atal Incubation Center RMP. Udayji has been active in the Indian startup ecosystem as a collaborator, facilitator, and motivator since 2010. He's involved in envisioning, planning, and providing overall leadership to AIC RMP with an objective of nurturing and supporting new age entrepreneurs for New Delhi. His endeavor is to unearth the huge entrepreneurial potential among the youth and actively contribute in setting up a robust startup ecosystem driven by innovation and technology. Can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Uday? And last but not the least, on the panel we have Mr. Pradeep Peshkar, advisor to Ministry of MSME. Mr. Pradeep Peshkar, creator of Modular Kitchens, has his own IT company in Pune, a project consultant, national highway contractor, a member National Board of MSME, Government of India, and he's also the state president of BJP Udyog Aghadi Maharashtra. He's also the president of Udyog Mitra Sanstha, president Bharat Bharati Sanstha Nashik, and industrial coordinator of Atmanirbhar Bharat. He has won various awards, which also include Nashik Ghoda Samman 2017-2018 and BBN Global Udyam Kaustubh Puraskar. Can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Pradeep Peshkar? Well, that was our lovely panel, and I would now request our moderator, Mr. Ashish Gardeji, to kindly felicitate our speakers, starting with Mrs. Manisha Verma. I would now request him to felicitate Mr. Suresh Todkar. Requesting him to felicitate Mr. Uday Wankawala. And I would now request him to felicitate Mr. Pradeep Peshkar. I would now request Ashish ji to kindly take the session ahead.
As I mentioned earlier, this is going to be a very exciting session. We have eminent speaker. I won't come in between the speaker and you, since we have limited time and Manisha Verma madam has to go back for the cabinet meeting. First, I will request Uday Wankawala ji to share his views connected with incubation centers.
Can I have the presentation, please, quickly? Thank you. Very good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Okay, I've got exactly 5 minutes. Manisha ji ko, I'm sure so I'll try to cut it short. But very important. और Meenal ji ने बहुत एक अच्छी बात कही, A B C D E F, and I was just thinking about it. I said let's add G as well. That's God, right? I mean, for everyone, that's very important. That whatever efforts that you put in, and I always say that if your intent is right, then you will make it for sure. Very interesting for me to address this particular audience. In fact, almost 25 to 30% are known faces. So it's like making a presentation in front of my family. That's so amazing. I mean, that's the beauty of innovation and incubation ecosystem as well as MSME. I would like to address very basic things out here. Very, very important. I think there are few students as well in this forum. And I would really like to highlight specifically when we say innovation, when we say skilling, and when we say MSME, how this all particular concepts are interconnected, and at the same point of time, what is it that you can leverage from the ecosystem as such? I think that's very important, and I think in the previous forums as well, there were a lot of discussions around last mile connectivity, कि schemes है पर पता नहीं है, वो एक challenge है. दूसरा है कि you have all the efforts that you put in, but at the end of the day, you don't realize your dreams. I mean, I always say that's mainly due to attitude. When I say that, what that really means is, if at all, if you keep on pursuing your goals and then keep on working towards it, I'm sure you would find it. I mean, means or mode आपको मिलते जाएंगे राह में, and then accordingly you will have it. So I've got 4 specific slides. That's what I just wanted to really highlight here. Hope you can see the screen. I believe that most of the times, the young budding entrepreneurs, they don't know exactly, I mean, what stage that they are at. We always say that you start off with a concept. I think that's the most important part. We call it as concept stage, wherein it's seeding. Those particular thoughts are seeding in your mind. What you would really look at is the development of the product. That's the next phase. The reason I'm sharing is I'm sure you would be at different phases. At MSME, it's more about scale up as well. But then I'm sure in the audience, if at all, and we have seen a lot of MSMEs taking the route of startup as well. The reason being they've got great innovations and they would love to start from scratch again. And that's the reason it's very important. Then what would happen is then you would have the first product ready, but there are no users. And that's where you would say, hey, where would I go? And that's where incubation centers and acceleration centers would really help you. The ecosystem would really help you. Then what would happen is you have the product ready and then you have first user. And then you would say that, hey, there is a validation of the product. But then what really happens is, do you have the validation of the business model or not? And then after that, you would have the revenues. You would have definitely would like to move to the next phase. We call it as the scale up stage. And overall, if you would see that after the revenue, it's all about scale up and leadership. I think that's where most of the founders and even the MSME, mainly in the industry, if you would find, it's all about giving back and it's all about the intent with which you want to really pursue your MSME dreams. Can we move on to the next slide, please? Very, very important. We figured out exactly what are the failures. I think that's also very important for a startup. And most of it, what we realized was that it's the wrong business model. If you would see the top 3, the wrong business model. The second is team. If at all, if you can not really build a team around it. And the funding comes in later on. I think that's something means by which you could always raise it through your friends, family, angel investors, loans, banks, government bodies. And that's very important in your journey to really understand what are the failures. We always say that when you start off your journey, please understand what all things that you don't have to do rather than what all things that you have to do. So it's better to know your don'ts rather than do's. That's the reason we have put up this particular, that it's better to know the failures, the reasons for failures, and most of the times the startups, they don't really look at those specific things. Can we move on to the next slide, please? So most of the times at our incubation center, a lot of budding entrepreneurs come in and they ask us that how do you really motivate entrepreneurs? How do you really work with them? It's a 3-step process. So it's an entrepreneur that we work with, that's the founder. Then entrepreneurship, it's a process. So what would come in is your HR, marketing, those are all processes, and then an enterprise. And that's where MSMEs are being built. So what we are really looking at, and that's a tip for MSMEs as well, that look at sustainable, lean, and agile kind of an approach. When we say that, these are the 3 key words that you really have to keep in mind. And most of the times MSME, when they move into the routines, when they know exactly how to really work it around, they miss these 3 approaches of sustainability. Lean model is nothing but with minimum resources, how do you really ensure that you get the maximum output? And also the agile, in a way, the quick way, the adaptability part of it. So that is what you really need to understand. That is what at our incubation center we really look at AIC RMP. Can we move on to the next slide? So next, please. Thank you. So mainly when we say skills, it's the mindset, it's the sales skills, we say leadership skills as well within that. Business management skills, most of the times, I mean, what you would find is you might have great technical skill sets, but you are not able to do justice to specifically around your business management part of it, which includes your time management, which includes your financial modeling as well. That is must. And networking skills. I think the forum that we have, the participants that we have, it's going to be nothing but just an event, if at all, if you can't leverage your connects, that you're going to make it later on. And how you can really help each other. I think that's more important than what you can get it from that connect. So these are the basic skill sets that are being required for an entrepreneur or any MSMEs. I believe that I call it as 9 steps or mantras towards your entrepreneurial journey. And if you can just keep your basics, fundamentals right, I think most of things that you would really take care of it. At AIC RMP, we are based in Uttan, that's Keshav Srishti. What we really look at is agriculture, so that's agri-tech. We look at social impact, that's tech for social good, and ICT, information communication technology. We have got nation building startups that has been featured in ISRO reform booklet. We have got startups that are fundable in a way that they have raised up to 3 crores, 5 crores of funding within 2 months of joining us. We are supporting close to 50 startups. The whole idea is the ecosystem is evolving. You need to be a part of the movement, and the government is there throughout to support its Atal Innovation Mission, Department of Science and Technology. I'm sure ma'am will cover that particular aspect as well. BIRAC, which is big. You have Nidhi Prayas grant, which is up to 10 lakhs to make idea to prototype, not just only for entrepreneurs, but for individuals as well. It's just that how do we really go and then reach out to the right audience and the worthy takers of it is what, as a forum, as a group, we really need to interact. And we are really looking forward to this movement, what has been called as Atmanirbhar Bharat, to really be a part of this particular movement. So with that, all the best to each one of you, and really looking forward to more engaging discussions later on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Udayji, for giving that excellent start for this panel. And now I call upon the Principal Secretary, Skill Development, Manisha Verma, Madam, to share her views.
Hello everyone, I will use this space instead of that because I'm not as tall as Udayji, and I will be hidden behind the flowers. So, hello everyone, I would really like to thank all the organizers of this conference, all the delegates, to have me here for this interaction. माझं नाव मनीषा वर्मा आहे आणि मी प्रधान सचिव कौशल्य विकास विभागामध्ये कार्यरत आहे. आमचे डिपार्टमेंटचं जे पूर्ण नाव आहे दॅट इज डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ स्किल्स एम्प्लॉयमेंट एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप अँड इनोव्हेशन. And so you can see that you have to move the slides really quickly because I don't have the remote in my hand. As you know, Maharashtra has a distinct advantage when we are talking about this session of employment, skilling, entrepreneurship and innovation, we are a state which has a large pool of employable youth. We are the most industrialized state in the country. We contribute nearly 15% of the GDP, and we have a really good demographic dividend. So these are the advantages. And if you see, compared to the national average of employable skilled workforce, India stands at 5%, and we have approximately 10 to 15% of workforce, which is formally skilled in Maharashtra. So go back to the slide. But if we have to actually compare globally, then you see that there are countries like South Korea, Japan, Germany, which are way beyond us. So while we can say we are relatively better off than other states, but we have a lot to catch globally. Next, please. And so my department, friends, I would, just to make it simplify what the business we are in, it's in skilling, employment, entrepreneurship, and innovation. In skilling, next, please, go. I have got IITs. So in the skill education and skilling, we have got IITs, which is a chain of all of you are familiar with the ITIs. They are present in almost every taluka in the state. We have nearly 418 government ITIs and 561 private. And nearly we turn out 1.5 lakh students, skilled, formally skilled manpower every year in 90 plus trades. And we have a lot of industry partnerships. We've signed nearly 42 MOUs in last 3 years, and you can see all the big names there who have been supporting as our industrial partners. In terms of courses, we have conventional courses in different sectors: apparel, textile, handloom, tourism, IT, construction, chemicals and petrochemicals. But we also have these new age courses which are coming in sectors of capital goods and manufacturing, automation, electronics, hardware, and IoT, drones, electrical vehicles. All these courses are also being introduced. Please, next. Besides this, to our young students, mind you, ITI students are really from the underprivileged backgrounds. They are mostly school dropouts. Only in Mumbai we have been getting very good, students who are doing very well in class 10th also. Our 2-year ITI course is equivalent to class 12th of qualification. We are also tying up with Mahindra, Nandi Foundation, Udyam Learning Foundation, NASCOM, Microsoft, to give them different skills which are add-on modules to the students. Next, please. We are also trying to promote dual system of training. We've done a MOU with Tata Strive and Siemens recently for 130 ITIs in 10 districts, in 10 trades, to actually do industrial relevant skilling. We are now looking at Industry 4.0 courses, even including AI, machine learning, IoT, EV, as I explained. But most importantly, I would say that most of our ITIs are actually working or getting, are very relevant for the MSME sector. This is what I would like to emphasize. Next, please. There are some of the important policy initiatives that we have taken. We know that in the informal sector, a lot of skills are present with the workforce, but they are not formally recognized by the system. So we have made a policy of recognition of prior learning, where we give the benchmarking and certification to the already working workforce. We've also recently come up 2 months ago with our reskilling and upskilling policy, where again your employees or your potential people, your HR, they can take advantage of. We've also come up with a very unique policy of CSR, where the government commits a matching grant to projects which are over 2 crores. So there is a matching grant CSR policy. I think we are the first state in the country to come up with. And the Maharashtra government has also done an amendment to the Apprenticeship Act. This is again very, very important for the MSMEs, I would like to emphasize, where you can have from 2.5% to maximum 25% of your total strength of employees, which is either regular or contractual in any designated or optional trade, and the government meets the stipend of that to a certain level. Next, please. So apprenticeship training schemes, there are two types. Some of you would be aware of it. One is a national apprenticeship promotion scheme, in which the government of India is contributing to a ceiling of 1,500 per month per apprentice with the employers. Now we have come up with Maharashtra apprenticeship promotion scheme maps, which tops up this 1,500 to up to 5,000 rupees. So I think it's a decent amount, and it could be beneficial to cut down costs of your HR cost of your establishments. Next, please. We are also giving you a very good example of our ITI industry partnerships. Our ITI Nagpur runs 2 batches for the French company for aviation. And actually our children are now getting employed in the aviation sector. Next, please. You can see some workshops set up in our ITI's campus by Honda Motors, by L'Oreal, by Tata Motors, by Sandvik, Konkan Railway Corporation in different sectors. So there is an effort that the industry relevant skills are provided by the industry partners themselves on our campuses. We've also done a MOU international collaborations for our department, but also within the sector skill councils. Go back. With Yes Foundation, we have done to train underprivileged youth on AI and digital marketing. With Institute of Cost Accountants of India and BFSI Sector Skill Council to train 3 lakh young graduates in next 3 years on accounting, on, hold on, statutory compliances, ERPs and international trades. I think banking, finance, insurance, these are sectors for employment in the future. So we are trying to do skilling in a big way. Similarly, I shared with you our MOU with Siemens and Tata Stripe. With Thyssen Group, they are creating a state-of-art welding workshop with us in ITI ONT. And we've also done a FCDO MOU with the UK government to support 24 startups in the clean energy sector. Next, please. We also have a state board. So just now I explained to you the ITIs. We also have a Maharashtra State Board of Skill and Vocational Education and Training. And the role of this board is to design and approve need-based courses, to give affiliation to VTPs, the training centers that are giving private trainings. You can have a certification which is government recognized for such institutions, assessment and certification of the batches that you run, and coordination and collaboration with industries and other departments. We have certification level courses, diploma, advanced diploma, and other courses. Next, please. We also have a state skill development society under my department, in which we are actually, this is the vehicle, through this society, we actually implement all the government of India and the state government schemes. We have Pradhan Mantri Kaushalya Yojana, we have Sankalp, we have Strive, we have NULM, and we have Kiman Kaushalya Karyakram at the district level. Next, please. We have a department portal called Mahaswayam portal, which has two kind of sides to it. One is the Kaushalya mahaswayam.gov.in, where you can actually see all the VTPs which are registered, the empanelment, creation of batches, training, tracking of trainees, etc. And it's a full online system. If you are a private provider and registered with us, then it is an entirely online, right from generation of batches to, clearance of the dues of the training providers. And we also have a portal on this side, which is kind of a e-platform of job seekers and prospective employers. We also have a Maharashtra State Innovation Society, which I'll come later to. During the COVID, seeing the deficit in the health workforce, we actually trained close to 40,000 people as para-health workers. And we trained them through the government medical colleges, private medical colleges, and private hospitals with 30 bedded hospitals. We actually took green channel permission from the government of India to train people at such scale. And we also trained in every district from our ITIs a batch of close to 20 to 30 young people who could maintain the plant oxygen plants in the hospitals that were set up during COVID. Next, please. Next. This time we also attempted to train our students and youth from Maharashtra for World Skills Competition. We were the West Zone India champions, and now our children, our national winners, will be participating in different countries in Europe. This is the skills competition like Olympics. There is an Olympic of skills, which is World Skills Competition. Next, please. So coming to, I have covered for you skilling and entrepreneurship, and now I'll come to innovations. So we do have a Maharashtra State Innovation Society, which actually we have a state policy of 2018. We've also recently constituted district innovation councils under the chairmanship of the collectors. All the DICs, ITI principals, local MSME and industry representatives, they are a part of these district level councils. We have this is a very recent restructuring of these committees. And I would really request all of you present here to be actively ensure that you are part of this, district level initiative. Next, please. If you see the presence of startups in Maharashtra, we say that Maharashtra has the right ecosystem. There are nearly 13,091 startups which are registered on the DPIIT website. But if you actually go back to that map, but if you actually see, it's a very skewed distribution. Majority of our startups are actually in clusters. Either they are in MMR region in Thane and Mumbai and Pune and Nagar and Aurangabad and Nagpur. If you see the other towns, tier 2 towns and even bigger districts, the startups are very, very less in numbers. So I do feel that we have to create this innovation culture right across the state and not limited to certain metro clusters. Next, please. Out of the unicorns, now we talk a lot about unicorns. Nearly 25 unicorns are from Maharashtra out of 106 in the country. Next, please. Now move fast. We do a startup week, and recently we've initiated a yatra. So we call proposals from all the startups across the country. We have an independent evaluation before the jury, and we have got these 8 sectors of agriculture, education, skilling, healthcare, sustainability, and good governance, in which we then take the winners. The best winners are actually given direct work orders of 15 lakhs with the domain department. This is again a unique, very unique feature of our state, that we don't make them go through the tender process, and we give them direct work orders to demonstrate the scalability in their domain area. So these are some of the winners of our startup. I would like to share some success stories like Print2Block and Legidog. They actually used the blockchain technology. We used it extensively during COVID to detect the false COVID certificates, vaccination. We extensively used them. Nearly 50 million documents were, used for verification through this blockchain technology. Similarly, one of our young officers used Legitalk, again AI technology, to give caste certificates, verify caste certificates, ST caste certificates in remote area of Gadchiroli. Next, please. With Haystacks Analytics, they use the genome sequencing, and initially their pilot was done on TB patient. But using this technology, Maharashtra government used them for COVID variant detection during COVID. Another interesting startup winner for us, PadCare. They have developed end-to-end technology for management of the used sanitary napkins and its recycling. And they have, the founder has also featured in Forbes 30 under 30 category in healthcare. Other startup winners like Jai Kisan and Resha Mandi in sericulture and end-to-end solution for Indian farmers. They mention NXG Ajna Lens has actually created world's first AI-powered AR and VR headset. And now even Indian Army has given orders to them. Next, please. We have a network of incubation centers, nearly 60 in the whole state, but we have actively funded 16, mostly in the public universities as well as eminent institutions. We've also supported Magic under our incubation program, and this is the example case study of Magic, where Neo startup has created innovative spray pump which can spray up to 4 lanes, 15 feet, and it has really reduced the pain of the back pain for the farmers in the rural areas. So we should congratulate Ashish ji, who is moderating this session. Magic is doing a lot of wonderful work as an incubator. Next, please. We give support from the government up to 2 lakhs for domestic patents and 10 lakhs for international patents. We also give financial support as reimbursement for any quality testing and certification from our department. Next, please. We also have a women entrepreneurship cell. I've already taken a lot of time, so let me tell you, we've taken a project with US Embassy and Alliance Commercialization and Innovation Research, and we have for training women for global level of, including financing, mechanism, pitching, mentoring and support to the women. We also have regular series with IIM Bangalore and IIM Nagpur for women entrepreneurships, and recently we have signed an agreement with TiE Mumbai for acceleration program. We've also recently signed a MOU with GAME, where we are thinking of creating a women entrepreneurship scorecard so that we can actually study what enables women in the ecosystem to have scalable and high growth businesses. And we hope to get these inputs from the scorecard to create a good Maharashtra women entrepreneurship policy. And I'm sure that the panelists before our session were actually talking of that, and I would be really grateful if all the successful women entrepreneurs come together for a stakeholders discussion to frame a good entrepreneurship policy focused on women. Next, please. We also connect our startups with the VCs. We had a VC mixer, and we had special stalls for our women's led enterprises. Next, please. Some of the success stories are Saral Designs, again for sanitary napkin production in rural areas. This was piloted in Anandwan in Chandrapur. And later on during COVID, Saral Designs, actually, Sohani, she has been celebrated. She has been featured in Forbes India as top woman entrepreneur. She's also been felicitated by DST. She's got other GOI awards also. And then they worked on the same technology to actually give 3-ply certified masks during COVID. Next, please. Another success story of using drones for medical services in rural areas is Volar Alta. Again, Niharika has featured in Asia's most influential women in renewable energy list in 2020, and she was also winner of our Startup Week. Next, please. Niramai is another Geeta, the CEO. She's given a very novel software-based medical device which is portable to detect breast cancer and can be used extensively even for massive screenings in rural areas. EcoSattva is another good example of actually creating dense green cover using certain technologies called Miyawaki technology. We piloted in one of our campuses in Aurangabad, and it's a biodiversity friendly plantation where you get a good green cover in 6 to 8 months. Next. In terms of procurement policy for startups, the government of Maharashtra has given certain exemptions which were pain points for startups. One is exemption about the turnover minimum requirement or experience, because we know startups are new in the domain, and for the earnest money deposit. Also, there's a provision that up to 20% value of the work order can be procured from a startup on a pilot basis. And now we are trying to, coordinate with the industry department to also give single window clearance for manufacturing startups. Next, please. We are going to have a startup yatra. It was launched by CM and DCM on 15th of August. The idea is to promote grassroots innovation. Our Yatra van for mobilization will be going across the state to all talukas. We will be having boot camp and pitching sessions. And thereafter, we'll be selecting the candidates at the district, division, and state level. This is the time I would request all of you, if you know some youth, young innovators, some good startups, or some people who have, ideation or prototype, or even if it is at a, slightly more advanced idea, we would like to really promote entrepreneurship and innovation across the state. We are also having a separate category of prizes for women entrepreneurs and innovators. Next, please. I would now, this is my last slide. I would like to request all of you that please collaborate with us. The main point why I came all the way during Adhiveshan is actually to meet all of you. I am afraid that I'll have to rush back because of an impromptu sudden cabinet that is happening at 6 o'clock. So I need to be back to Mantralaya now. But please help us to identify the skill gaps at the district level. You become our partners for giving trainings or providing training centers as resource centers, incubators, skill hubs. We'll be happy to have you as our partners in all our ITI's management, because we have a policy where ITI institute level management should have industry partners. You can help us to design and deliver relevant training, content, and courses. You can help us to identify the infrastructure gaps or areas that you would want help on. We would also want to partner with you for skilling schemes and our apprenticeship scheme and on-the-job training. So some of the MSMEs can help us with that, and we would like to extend our cooperation on that. We would also like to support you and organize grand challenge or hackathons to find innovative solutions if some sectors and MSMEs come out with certain problems. Let us all build an ecosystem for entrepreneurships and innovations. We would like to leverage all the available schemes across the state government, across departments and resources, and all the expertise that lie with practitioners like you. I have all my deepest respect to all the MSMEs, because you are the wealth creators and you are the people who will give employment to and take our country forward. So thank you so much.
Thank you, madam, for covering such a vast subject in such limited time, and that too in spite of your hectic schedule. I am sure most of the persons who are here, they would like to have a copy of this wonderful presentation. It has got so many details which Government of Maharashtra is doing in the field of entrepreneurship, innovation, skilling, employment, and I am sure the last slide which you had shown, like many of us here will definitely come forward and support these initiatives. After Manisha Verma madam, I would now request Suresh Todkar, the founder director of Deogiri Electronic Cluster at Aurangabad. Most of the time, it is our notion that good things happen in metro cities. here is a case where Aurangabad has demonstrated how brownfield cluster can be established in tier 2 city like Aurangabad, and that too with the participation of MSME units without backing of any of the big brands. Over to Suresh.
Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I thank MEDC for giving this opportunity. And after wonderful presentation from Manisha madam, we came to know it is exhaustive content. So government is going out of way and trying to reach taluka level. When they do startup yatra, go to taluka, go to district, they are funneling it and bringing all startups to proper incubation center and supporting financially. This is really good opportunity for new startups. This is a wonderful opportunity. As I said, it is all MSME stakeholders, MSME related stakeholders are here today. Central government agencies related to export, then technology related, then state government, skilling, innovation, all industry associations. It is wonderfully organized program. And I take the opportunity to share my experience of cluster, how clusters are playing a role of building ecosystem of innovation and skilling. So why clusters? This is the basic questions. Before I go to basic question, in the morning session, Ajay sir was explaining World's China Plus One plan. What is World China Plus One? After COVID pandemic, every country is looking for alternative to China or additional manufacturing hub to China. And who is that opportunity? Who will take the opportunity? So my next slide, please. Will India take that opportunity? Can we take it really? And if you want to take, who will take the opportunity? Who will be on the forefront? Government, central government, state government, or industry, or MSME? So MSME has got biggest potential on this background because we had a huge backlog of 75 years. There is a huge potential, but we never encashed it. Now government is coming very aggressively with different schemes. A lot of funding is there. Top bureaucracy is totally new generation, I will call him. And industries through associations, they are approaching basically governments, industries, and they're trying to build an ecosystem. And this startup scheme is ideal for that ecosystem building. Next slide, please. So what is basically MSME's limitation? I said there is a backlog of 75 years. So MSME don't have the R&D infra, then test labs are not there for validation. There is no access to high technology, high-cost machines. Even if somebody takes high-capacity machine, utilization factor is a problem. It becomes a white elephant. So these are the real problems. Now, regarding new technologies, like EV is new to world. EV is new to world. So why India is not going very aggressively on EV products, like EV batteries, then EV motors and battery management systems? Who is stopping basically? So these are the real challenges of MSME. As an individual industry, we cannot reach out to all these elements of business cycle. Prototype development, pilot batch manufacturing, technology access, then marketing access in international market, limitations of technology transfer. So cluster is the solution for all these problems, that is what I think. And I will share few cases, case study in this respect. Next slide, please. So what is cluster? Cluster is basically in one subject or even one product related industry should come together. They have to diagnose what are the problems, why they are not growing multifold, and they have to find the solutions, and government will fund them. So what is that? That is a common facility center for all design, testing, manufacturing support, high technology machines, everything can be provided in CFC. But if these high technology, high investment machines is required, who will invest for this? Because it is not commercially viable. So normally we call it a viability gap. Next, please. So this funding of commercial viability gap is now aggressively done by government. Government says there is no question of ROI. Government is putting money on common facility center. Let industry come, they utilize it and grow to next level, or they can do the world-class product manufacturing. When I say world-class manufacturing, in previous session I have seen Mansi Bidkar madam and Sujata madam, they did electronic products 50 years back and 25 years back in cities like Mumbai and Pune. Is it possible to do something like tier 2 cities or a district place or a taluka place? Yes, it is possible with this type of clusters. That is what I say. Only industry has to put, this is one average case. So 15% industry has to put in, state government will 10% and central government will give 75%. So when there is no big stake and no burden of ROI, industry can put the best world-class infrastructure required for their product development, R&D, testing, high-cost manufacturing machines, everything can be available and it is accessible to industries and it will be run by industries. Government is not interfering in that. Next, please. So these are the different schemes depending on the product and whether it is state or central government or a combination. Funding is there from 60 to 80%. And this is really a very, very good opportunity for MSMEs. Whatever they cannot do individually, they can do collectively. And that is what we call, it's a collective wisdom. And collective wisdom, industries will come together, industry associations will organize with government, and government will financially support. These are the few schemes. I will not go in detail because this is the last session and I have at the tail end. So next, please. This is one success story of Marathwada Auto Cluster at Aurangabad. And this is under DIPP. Next. 81 crore project. And government of India is 58 crores, state government is 8 crores, industry has put in 12 crores, and we have taken some bank finance. And that was the first success story of Aurangabad. And since 7-8 years, this is self-sustainable from day one. Because there was always a worry, if such type of infrastructure is given to industry, will they run it? Who will run it? So we have demonstrated it is professionally run and it is in profit from first day of the operations, and the second phase is also implemented. Next, please. So what we did in that cluster, we made a product display center. 30 successful industries are displaying their products in one marketplace, and whoever comes to Aurangabad, we just take him to that place only. He can see 30 industries' successful products. So that shows the strength of Aurangabad and technical capability of Aurangabad. Next. So these are the high-cost machines. Every manufacturer, MSME says, I need all machines, 5 crore, 10 crore. I cannot take 5 crore, 10 crore machines and borrow it, and then in the morning session, bankers were there. What about collateral? What about return? What about interest? So there's a lot of questions are there. So here, you have to focus on your technology, your product. Get the things done from cluster and sell it to your customer. Whatever value addition you have to do, that much machines you have to take in your factory. That is the concept of this cluster. This was for automotive industry. Next. Based on the experience of this, our industry chamber, 52 years old chamber, CMI, they thought this benefit of cluster should go to more and more people of our region. And they started one cell called Cluster Development Cell. And the team was made, professional team was made available to all people willing to start startups. Till date, 30 plus clusters are already supported by CDC, and there are different sectors are supported, right from agriculture, the garment, we have got Paithani garment cluster is also there, even Khawa cluster is like in food product. So these type of clusters, almost 80 crore investment of government is done in that, all those clusters, small state clusters. This is success story of the CDC. And after that, we decided to go for the electronic cluster. That is what I am heading. And basically, it is need of country. After petroleum products, we are importing a lot of electronics. In COVID also, there was a lot of discussion. We are importing so many things, and what Indian industry is doing. So how Indian industry will overnight compete China, and how they will give the lowest cost product at world-class manufacturing. It will only happen if the world-class manufacturing facilities are accessible to small-scale industries at nominal rate. It is controlled by industry and partially funded by government. This is very beautiful thing government has started, and industry has taken the advantage to some extent. But need of time is when last month there was figures, last January to June, 6 months, and this January to June, 6 months, our import from China has increased 31%. And Commerce Ministry is asking every council why plastic import has increased, why electronics import has increased, why electrical import has increased. Overnight we cannot do anything, but we need center of excellences, product specific, and one cluster will develop one product, and that will be equivalent to the scale of China. All the machine what they are having in their factories, that should be available in this facility, and all industries running will be around that cluster. That is the idea of cluster, and that government should support this initiative. That is my suggestion. Next. This will be the SMT assembly line available for small scale industries. This 5 crore machine line is imported from Korea. This sheet metal cabinet housing of instruments, the machines are imported from Japan. So normally these machines are not available to small scale industries, and their quality is not world class. And we are supposed to compete with world class leaders, and wherein again skilling is a problem. Madam said that out of workforce 5% are formally skilled. And we are competing with Korea and Japan and Germany, where their skilling is 90-95%. So this is the real challenge, and cluster is the only solution. That is what this is the last slide. Next, please. So what government support is required for all these? This is the implementation is little bit tricky in clusters, because a lot of stakeholders are involved, state to center, center to industry, industry to industry association. That communication gap is a big problem. Then priority for land and power should be given from government side. And center of excellence is for, as I said, our car manufacturing was hold for availability of chips from China. Why not to start one cluster in India? We will give the only automotive electronic related products, not particularly semiconductor, but the microcontroller assemblies of automotive. That is possible. Then med technology is the same case. In COVID, we were importing everything. Ventilator I understand, but small medtech instruments are also imported, and that again electronics industry has to take up the subject, and medical technology is a big potential in India. And EV is an emerging field. At least 1 decade in India, there will be big potential for EV. There can be a cluster of batteries. One can do on sale, one can do on packaging, one can do BMS, one can do the testing laboratory. So all these are the businesses in that EV. And one subject specific cluster should be developed immediately, and this should be done on very, very fast track. This opportunity window is open hardly for 1 or 2 years. Again, we will forget everything, and again we'll start importing everything from China. That we should avoid. Next. So that's all from my side. I tried to make it brief. Thank you very much once again to MCD and MEDC and all audience.
Thank you, Suresh, for the excellent presentation and sharing the importance of clusters, especially taking into consideration the case studies of clusters at Aurangabad. Now we have with us Pradeep Peshkar ji, who has also got very vast experience, and as you have heard, he is already advising to Government of India in MSME department. So over to Peshkar sir.
Dignitaries on the dais. I especially thank MEDC to organize such a useful event. Due to COVID, I think 2 years we lost, and after gap of 2 years, we are meeting in MEDC conference. I would like to brief about Make in India opportunities in defense. आपल्या पंतप्रधानांनी सांगितलेलं 2015ला जे सांगितलं आहे, मेक इन इंडिया हा इनिशिएटिव्ह आम्ही ऐकला. त्यात नक्की काय करायचं आहे हे सर्वांना बऱ्यापैकी माहिती आहे. पण त्या विषयातलं सेक्टोरियल डेव्हलपमेंट्स ह्या डिफेन्स सेक्टरमधलं डेव्हलपमेंटबद्दल मी स्पेसिफिक आत्ता सांगणार आहे. मेक इन इंडिया ऑपॉर्च्युनिटीज इन डिफेन्स ह्या विषयामध्ये आपल्याला सगळ्या प्रोसिजर्स डिफेन्सच्या ज्या बदललेल्या आहेत त्या बेसिकली आपल्याला माहिती करून घेतल्या पाहिजेत. सगळ्यात सुरुवातीला आम्हाला असं सांगण्यात आलेलं आहे, वर्षानुवर्ष आपण ऐकतोय डिफेन्स मीन्स सिक्रेट, नो वन कॅन टच दॅट, देर इज नो प्रोसिजर टू इंडिजनाइज ऑल द कॉम्पोनंट्स यूज फॉर डिफेन्स. अशा प्रकारचं आपल्याला त्यापासून दूर ठेवलं. आणि मग बाहेरून आणण्याचा कार्यक्रम अगदी चांगल्या प्रकारे चालू होता. इनोव्हेशन हे आजच सगळ्यांमध्ये आलं असं नाही आहे. टेक्नॉलॉजी आत्ताही आपण बाहेरून आणू शकतो, परंतु प्रोडक्शन, इंडिजनायझेशन आणि इनोव्हेशनला बूस्ट हे सगळं होण्यासाठी त्या सर्टन प्रोसिजर्स सरकारने बदलल्या. DAP 2020 आपल्याला काही मी जे नावं सांगणार आहे ते जर आपण लिहून घेतले तर तुम्हाला त्या विषयात ज्यांना काम करायचं आहे त्यांना उपयोगात येणार आहे. DAP 2020 तुम्ही वाचलं पाहिजे. डिफेन्स ॲक्विजिशन प्रोसिजर्स किंवा डिफेन्स ॲक्विजिशन पॉलिसी 2020 ही अमेंड झाली आणि यामध्ये MEC 1 आणि MEC 2 प्रोसिजर्स झाल्या. MEC 1 प्रोसिजर्स म्हणजे फंडेड बाय गव्हर्नमेंट आणि MEC 2 म्हणजे सेल्फ फंडिंग. आम्हाला जर एखादी वस्तू बनवायची असेल, आम्ही बनवू शकत असू, तर आम्ही आमच्या पैशांनी, आमच्या इनोव्हेशननी आम्ही ते करू. तुम्ही टेस्ट तर करून द्या, एवढाच विषय आहे. म्हणजे मी जर का एखाद्या सुखोई 30साठी एखादा इनोव्हेटिव्ह प्रॉडक्ट बनवला तर मी ते टेस्टिंगसाठी सुखोई 30 विकत नाही घेऊ शकत. मला तिथे फॅसिलिटी मिळाली पाहिजे. अशा प्रकारच्या प्रोसिजर्स ह्या सगळ्या लेट डाऊन केलेल्या आहेत आणि त्या आता वापरात आलेल्या आहेत. MEC 1 आणि MEC 2चा डिफरन्स लक्षात घेतल्यानंतर आपल्याला हे बघायला पाहिजे की बजेटचं प्रोव्हिजन काय केलं आहे. या वर्षीच्या बजेटमध्ये सेंट्रल गव्हर्नमेंटनी सांगितलं की 68% ऑफ टोटल डिफेन्स परचेस विल बी फ्रॉम डोमेस्टिक इंडस्ट्रीज. डोमेस्टिक इंडस्ट्रीजमधला 68% परचेस होणार आहे. म्हणजे अमाऊंट वाईज जर बघितलं तर साधारणतः आपलं डिफेन्सचं बजेट 5 लाख कोटीचं आहे. त्यातलं 3 लाख कोटी हे परचेस बजेट आहे, कॅपिटल इक्विपमेंट परचेस. त्याच्या 68% म्हणजे जवळजवळ 2 ते 2.25 लाख कोटीचं परचेस ह्या वर्षी डोमेस्टिक इंडस्ट्रीजकडून करायचं आहे. देर इज नो डोमेस्टिक कंपनी कॅपॅसिटी टू सप्लाय ऑल दीज आयटम्स. मग त्यासाठी इनोव्हेशन्सचा भाग आला. त्यामध्ये आयडेक्स नावाचं एक डिपार्टमेंट आहे. आपल्याला हे लक्षात घेतलं पाहिजे की मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ डिफेन्स म्हणजे MODच्या अंतर्गत आयडेक्सची एक इनिशिएटिव्ह चालतो. या आयडेक्सच्या अंतर्गत वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारे इनोव्हेशनला सपोर्ट करण्याची यंत्रणा आहे. या यंत्रणेमध्ये 2 डिफेन्स इनोव्हेशन सेंटर, डिफेन्स इनोव्हेशन हब याचा निर्णय सरकारने घेतला 2019मध्ये. एक आहे कोइंबतूरला आणि आपल्याला आनंद होईल की दुसरा आहे महाराष्ट्रामध्ये नाशिकला. योगायोगाने नाशिकच्या डिफेन्स इनोव्हेशन सेंटरचं पूर्ण कोऑर्डिनेशन मीच करतो आहे आणि त्यामध्ये आपल्याला असं लक्षात येईल की डिफेन्सच्या जेवढ्या एस्टॅब्लिशमेंट आहेत या सगळ्या एस्टॅब्लिशमेंटबरोबरचं कम्युनिकेशन, वेंडर डेव्हलपमेंट, इनोव्हेशन सपोर्ट, इंडिजनायझेशन सपोर्ट हा सगळा त्या सेंटर थ्रू होणार आहे. ज्याला कुणाला डिफेन्स सेक्टरमध्ये काम करायचं आहे, माझ्या मते जो पुणे, नाशिक, औरंगाबाद, अहमदनगर हा जो बेल्ट आहे यामध्ये ऑटो कंपोनंट इंडस्ट्री मोठ्या प्रमाणावर आहे, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स मोठ्या प्रमाणावर आहे. आणि या इंडस्ट्रीसाठी जर का पुढच्या 25 वर्ष म्हणजे माननीय पंतप्रधानांच्या भाषेत सांगायचं झालं तर अमृतकाल 75 ते 100 वर्ष भारताच्या स्वातंत्र्यानंतरचा यामध्ये जर बघायचं असेल तर आपल्याला डायव्हर्सिफाय डिफेन्सकडे व्हायला लागेल. डिफेन्स इक्विपमेंट मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग फक्त आपल्यासाठीच नाही तर जगात सप्लाय करण्यासाठी आपल्याला करायचं आहे. हे टार्गेट माननीय पंतप्रधानांनी आपल्याला दिलेलं आहे. आणि ते जर करायचं असेल तर आपल्याला पाहिजे एवढेच इक्विपमेंट आपण बनवू शकत नाही आहे, देऊ शकत नाही, तर जगाला सप्लाय करण्यासाठी किती मोठी कॅपॅसिटी वाढवायला लागेल याचा आपण विचार केला पाहिजे. त्यामुळे देर इज ह्यूज स्कोप फॉर इनोव्हेशन, इंडिजनायझेशन अँड डिफेन्स प्रोडक्शन. यामध्ये आयडेक्सच्या प्रोसिजर्स जर तुम्ही स्टडी केल्या तर लक्षात येईल की एनी इनोव्हेशन इट विल बी सपोर्टेड बाय सीड फंडिंग ऑफ 20 लाख रुपीज. त्यानंतर जर का तुम्हाला कमर्शियलाइज प्रोडक्शन करायचं असेल तर 1 कोटी रुपयापर्यंतचं फंडिंग, सगळ्या फॅसिलिटीजचा चार्जेस आणि हे सगळं धरून तुम्हाला 1 कोटी रुपये कमर्शियल प्रोडक्शन करण्यापर्यंत मिळतील. आणि त्याचं कमर्शियल प्रोडक्शनचं टेस्टिंग झाल्यानंतर जर का तुम्हाला ॲक्च्युअल युनिट, मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग युनिट सुरू करायचं आहे तर तुम्हाला 10 करोड रुपयाचा वन टाईम ग्रँट मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ डिफेन्सकडून तुम्हाला मिळू शकतो. आणि एकदा म्हणजे हे सगळं ओव्हर अँड अबव आपले जे PSIच्या जे स्कीम आहे, स्टेट गव्हर्नमेंट, सेंट्रल गव्हर्नमेंट ज्या इन्सेंटिव्हच्या स्कीम आहे त्याच्या व्यतिरिक्त हे सगळं असणार आहे. त्यामुळे आपल्याला डायव्हर्सिफिकेशनसाठी या ठिकाणी जायला पाहिजे. मग ह्याची इन्फॉर्मेशन मिळणार कुठे? याची इन्फॉर्मेशनसाठी www.srijandefense.gov.in हे पोर्टल केलेलं आहे. या सृजन डिफेन्स पोर्टलवर आपल्याला सगळ्या प्रकारचं फिल्टर क्रायटेरिया सुरुवातीला दिसेल. साधारणतः 26,000 कंपोनंट इंडिजनायझेशनसाठी आत्ता त्यावर अवेलेबल आहेत. या 26,000 कंपोनंटचं कॅटेगरायझेशन केलेलं आहे. फिल्टर तुम्हाला लावता येईल कॉस्ट वाईज, इम्पोर्ट वाईज, नॉटो ग्रुपचा कंपोनंट आहे का, रशियन कंपोनंट आहे का, ह्या प्रकारे करता येईल. ओरिजिनल इक्विपमेंट मॅन्युफॅक्चरर कोण आहे त्याप्रमाणे सिलेक्ट करता येईल. कॅटेगरी प्रॉडक्टची जी आहे, रबर कंपोनंट आहे, एरोस्पेसचा कंपोनंट आहे, शीट मेटल आहे, या प्रकारे करता येईल. इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स, इलेक्ट्रिकल, ह्या प्रकारे कॅटेगरायझेशन करता येईल. आणि त्यानंतर आपल्याला ज्या कंपोनंटला आपल्याला ज्या क्षेत्रातला कंपोनंट पाहिजे, ज्या कॅटेगरीतला कंपोनंट पाहिजे, त्याच्या डिटेल्सवर क्लिक केल्यानंतर तुम्हाला टेक्निकल स्पेसिफिकेशन, त्यानंतर तुम्हाला त्याचं कॉस्टिंग, पुढच्या 3 वर्षामध्ये किती बजेट आहे, किती लागणार आहे हे पण त्यामध्ये दिलेलं आहे, क्वांटिटी, आणि त्याचा परचेसर, तो कंपोनंट कुठल्या कंपनीचा आहे हे तर सुरुवातीलाच कळेल. आणि त्याचा परचेसर म्हणजे जो कोणी कन्सर्न अथॉरिटी आहे त्यांचं नाव, त्यांचा ईमेल ID, त्यांचा फोन नंबर आणि त्यांचं डेसिग्नेशन, एवढं सगळं त्या ठिकाणी अवेलेबल आहे. मला वाटत नाही की याच्यापेक्षा एक्स्ट्रा काही इन्फॉर्मेशन आपल्याला कम्युनिकेशनला लागते. आणि त्या कंपोनंटबद्दलचं एन्क्वायरी आणि हे सगळं आपण त्या पोर्टल थ्रू केल्यानंतर तुमच्याबरोबर कम्युनिकेशन तो DPSU किंवा जे कोणी हेडक्वार्टरचे लोक असतील ते करतील. त्यामध्ये काही अडचण आली तर योगायोगाने आपल्याकडेच त्याचं इनोव्हेशन सेंटर असल्यामुळे तुम्ही आम्हाला कळवू शकता. आम्ही त्यामध्ये इंटरव्हेन्शन करून तुम्हाला त्यातलं कम्युनिकेशनची पूर्तता पूर्ण करून देऊ. तर या डिफेन्स इनोव्हेशन सेंटरच्या माध्यमातून आपल्याला डिफेन्स प्रोडक्शनकडे डायव्हर्सिफाय होण्यासाठी अत्यंत मोठा स्कोप आहे. साधारणतः मागच्या 2 वर्षापूर्वी आपण ऐकलं असेल कॉर्पोरेटायझेशन ऑफ OFBs म्हणजे ऑर्डिनन्स फॅक्टरी बोर्ड. ऑर्डिनन्स फॅक्टरी बोर्डाच्या अंतर्गत 42 युनिट्स होते भारतभरामध्ये. ते 42 युनिटचा बोर्ड डिझॉल्व केला आणि कॉर्पोरेटायझेशन ह्या स्कीमच्या अंतर्गत 7 पब्लिक लिमिटेड कंपनी त्याच्या करण्यात आल्या. या 7 कंपन्याच्या अंतर्गत हे 42 डिव्हिजन डिस्ट्रीब्यूट झालेले आहेत. आणि या 7 कंपन्या आणि 8 पहिल्याच डिफेन्सच्या ज्या PSUs आहेत त्या अशा पूर्ण 15 PSUचं कोऑर्डिनेशन आर्मी, नेव्ही आणि एअरफोर्स यांच्या हेडक्वार्टरचं कोऑर्डिनेशन हे आपल्याला या वेबसाईट थ्रू सृजन डिफेन्सवरून तर होईलच. ते फक्त इंडिजनायझेशनसाठी आहे, पण कॅपॅसिटी एन्हान्समेंटसाठी आपल्याला या डिफेन्स इनोव्हेशन सेंटरचा उपयोग होईल. कॅपॅसिटी एन्हान्समेंटचा विचार करताना आपल्याला लक्षात घेतलं पाहिजे की भारताकडे ही कॅपेबिलिटी आहे की जगातल्या अन्य देशांच्या सैनिकांना प्रशिक्षण देण्याचं. प्रशिक्षण देताना आमच्याकडे वाळवंट पण आहे, एका बाजूला हिमालय पण आहे, मोठा सागरी किनारा आहे. हे सगळं असताना आमच्याकडे अनेक देश लष्करी प्रशिक्षणासाठी येतात. वर्षानुवर्ष आपण प्रशिक्षण दिलं आहे, त्याचे पैसे पण देतात ते. परंतु मोदीजींनी एकच गोष्ट ॲड केली की जर प्रशिक्षण घ्यायचं असेल तर आमचे इक्विपमेंट पण घ्यायला लागतील. मग किती स्कोप वाढला याचा आपण विचार केला पाहिजे. म्हणजे प्रशिक्षण तर देऊच, त्याबरोबर आम्ही इक्विपमेंट पण देऊ. आपण ऐकलं असेल मीडियामधून की ब्रह्मोसच्याही ऑर्डर मिळाल्या आणि तेजसच्याही ऑर्डर आता आपल्याला मिळालेल्या आहेत. त्यामुळे छोट्या इक्विपमेंटपासून ते ब्रह्मोसपर्यंत ह्या ऑर्डर्स भारत आता घ्यायला लागलेला आहे. त्यामुळे त्याच्यात कॅपॅसिटी एन्हान्समेंटसाठी व्हेंडर डेव्हलपमेंटची किती आवश्यकता असेल याचा आपण विचार करू शकतो. मला असं वाटतं की MEDCचे अध्यक्ष बोराटकर साहेब बसलेले आहेत, त्यांना मला विनंती करायची आहे की महाराष्ट्रामध्ये किती पोटेन्शियल आहे याचा जर आपण रिसर्च करू शकलो आणि तो इंडस्ट्रीला प्रॉपर देऊ शकलो तर मला वाटतं की मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ डिफेन्ससुद्धा जास्ती कॉन्सन्ट्रेट आपल्या इथं करू शकेल. कारण इंजिनिअरिंग इंडस्ट्रीचा मेजर रोल आहे. आणि यामध्ये जर का थोडंसं डिटेल आपण हे केलं आणि गद्रे साहेबांसारख्या एक्सपर्ट्सचं जर मदत घेतली तर मला वाटतं आपण याच्यामध्ये खूप पुढे जाऊ शकू. योगायोगाने आपल्याला महाराष्ट्राला ते भाग्य लाभलं आहे की आपण हे सगळं करणार आहोत, परंतु आपल्या सर्वांची साथ त्याच्यामध्ये आवश्यक आहे. आणि थँक्यू सर, सरांनी पण पुढाकार घेतलेला आहे की तो घ्यायचा आहे. त्यामुळे आपल्याला MEDCच्या माध्यमातून म्हणजे दिस इज इकॉनॉमिक डेव्हलपमेंट काउन्सिल, पण आपल्याला डिफेन्स प्रोडक्शन महाराष्ट्रामध्ये किती होईल, त्यामुळे इकॉनॉमिकल ग्रोथ किती होईल आणि त्याचं एक्सपोर्टसाठीच्या वेगळ्या, आता वेळ कमी आहे पण खूप नाही सांगता येणार आहे, पण एक्सपोर्टसाठी डिफेन्स इक्विपमेंट एक्सपोर्टचं 100% गॅरंटी सेंट्रल गव्हर्नमेंटने घेतलेली आहे. त्यामुळे बनवायचं आणि विकायचं कुठे हा प्रश्नच नाही आहे. त्यामुळे आपल्याला पूर्ण स्टडी त्या डिफेन्सच्या प्रोसिजर्सची केली पाहिजे, ज्या प्रोसिजरमध्ये चेंजेस झालेत त्याची केली पाहिजे आणि त्याच्यामध्ये ईज ऑफ डुईंग बिझनेस किती आहे हे पण आपण बघू शकता, अनुभवू शकता. त्यामुळे मला वाटतं की ह्या थोड्या वेळात मी कम्युनिकेट करायचा प्रयत्न केला आहे, पण याचं डिटेलिंग आपल्याला MEDCच्या ऑफिसमध्ये परत मिळेल, याची व्यवस्था आम्ही करू. आणि या ठिकाणी हा अतिशय चांगला असा उपक्रम घेतल्याबद्दल आयोजकाचे अभिनंदन, आभार, धन्यवाद.
Thank you, Peshkar sir, for such a detailed and to the point briefing regarding opportunities connected with defense. I take this opportunity to thank all the panelists, since we are running out of time and the program is already getting delayed. We won't get into a question answer mode right now. All the speakers are available, and if there are any questions from the audience, maybe those can be directed to the speakers. MEDC team available here will facilitate interaction with the speakers, and we can move to the next session. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we have a big round of applause for the entire panel? Okay, with that, I would definitely want to know from the audience, has it been a very informative and an interesting day? Okay, can I hear it a little more loudly? Let's have some high energy before we close the last session. So, did you get some really great insights today? Well, thank you so much for that, and thank you so much to all our esteemed dignitaries, moderators and speakers for making this day very informative and interesting. And it was definitely refreshing to hear the views on different topics ranging from micro businesses to women entrepreneurs to finances and business opportunities. So with that, we are going to move ahead with the closing session for today, and for the same, I would like to invite on stage Shri Ravindra Boratkar ji, President MEDC. We also have with us Shri KG Dekate ji, Joint Director Industries. We have with us Mr. Adarsh Sharma, Managing Director, Primus Partners. I would request them to kindly come up on the stage. We have with us Mrs. Meenal ma'am, Vice President MEDC. Mr. Anil Gatske, Committee Chairman, MSME and Cooperative Banking. And Mr. Ashish Garde, Regional Director, MEDC Aurangabad. I would request all the dignitaries to kindly come up on the stage. I request Mrs. Meenal ma'am to kindly come up on the stage. She's down. So, well, with that, we are already acquainted with all the members of MEDC. Let me quickly give you a brief introduction of Shri KG Dekate, sir. He holds a B and an MBA degree. He joined as Deputy Director of Industries in 1997 through MPSC. He has worked as a General Manager throughout at various districts including Bhandara, Yavatmal, Pune, Aurangabad, and currently he was posted as Joint Director of Industries in 2021 in the Mumbai region. Can we have a big round of applause for him? We also have with us Mr. Adarsh Sharma. He is the Managing Director at Primus Partners. Prior to joining Primus, Adarsh ji was Director with KPMG India and has an experience working with multilateral agencies such as the UN. He holds credible international experience of handling assignments related to donor development programs, policy advisor, and trade promotion with extensive experience in stakeholder management and well-networked with the industry executive landscape. He has also served as the member of the advisory panel to the Office of the Chief Minister, Government of Maharashtra, to revive industries affected by COVID-19 pandemic and is also a member of the State Flagship Industrial Investment Initiative. Can we have a big round of applause for Mr. Adarsh Sharma? I would now request Ravindra ji to felicitate Dekate, sir. I would now request Ravindra ji to felicitate Adarsh ji. I would now request Mr. Adarsh Sharma to kindly address the audience.
Good evening, everyone. To our dignitaries on the stage and off the stage. It's been a long day of some very, very interesting sessions, of course. I think by now I am lost for words for all the talking points I had made since this morning. Probably the people who have spoken more and probably beyond more, I would rather say. First and foremost, I wish to congratulate everyone, for this excellent session. If I speak for myself, I think I have attended this session right from morning, and every session brought about some degree of newness. It's not that, probably as somebody who's worked in this industry for quite some time now and have interacted with MSMEs, startups, and probably large-scale industries over the years, that these points are sort of not necessarily known. But the fact that, it's always amazing to revisit some of this and to sort of look at, all the amazing work that has actually really happened, So I may want to rather focus on what all has really happened, as against what all is left to be done. I actually want to revisit a couple of points that were made since morning, and I've actually made a note of it, so please pardon me if I keep looking down. It's not necessarily read from somewhere, but some points that I have sort of noted for myself. And I'll try to sort of keep it concise in the interest of time. I think there were, repeatedly since morning or rather heard about, what will it take for the MSMEs to become big, for them to probably become export ready. There was a very interesting term being used, China +1, and we all kept on speaking about it when it came to pandemic, and I have myself actually worked with DPIIT very closely, and during the introduction they spoke about when the COVID so-called industry exit strategy or the reopening strategy was being framed for government of Maharashtra. I was right in the midst of it, working with the industries department at that point in time. Very fortunate to be part of that exercise, because right from not having a real base, having an unexpected pandemic hit us, and really, working on the so-called unblocking of the supply chain, I can only think of, this probably weeks and weeks of sleepless night that we spent. But I think that really made me think at that point. I had extensively written about this. Was we keep on saying, what is the support that the government can provide us? And even at that point in time, we kept on sort of reflecting on this one question. I think, this morning, Dr. Monica Kennedy also sort of reflected on this point. And I think one of the things that I realized at that point, this is an observation that I have, that for the government also the scale is just too big to cover. It's huge. You're looking at crores and crores of MSMEs split into multiple sectors. Probably an MSME becoming a or a sort of a captive contractor to another MSME, so to say. The challenge is, how do you make this micro, probably smalls, becoming big, and bigs becoming larger? That's the biggest challenge over here. I think one of the things that I realized at that point in time, and probably even now, I think one thing that I kept on reflecting on is identification of, which are those priority sectors that India as a country has core competitiveness, the MSMEs. That also brings me to a point that, and I think Mr. Sabu made this point in the morning, that, if there is an IT vendor who's working in the space of, if there's an MSME working in the space of IT, and he suddenly decides to do probably egg reproduce, is he ready enough? I think it is for the MSMEs also to realize what is it that they really want to pick up, what does the market really have to offer? And that is the competitiveness that, probably as a country we need to undertake, because that's where the diversification of so-called supply chain, or us contributing to the supply chain, is going to come from. It's a very interesting term we had used back then, which was about, in consulting, we have a very interesting analogy of selling everything, These are services that we sell, or concepts that we sell. And we keep on talking about country and sector approach. I think it is the right time for us to actually look at country, sector, and the supply chain approach, and them twining into R&D and the innovation space. And if we have these value adds coming in together, there's no stopping the MSMEs really. But also the fact that, these have to be really, really complemented with the right set of, and access to capital is something that we've spoken of extensively through the course of the day. It is also about industry bodies such as MEDC, who have probably denominated 25% of their, probably every industry parcel, to MSMEs. Can they create plug-and-play infrastructures targeted at those countries who are ready to buy off India, or the buy off Indian MSMEs? If yes, can this plug-and-play infrastructure be provided with the right kind of facilities that probably meet those quality standards? Some of those things that can come on the platter for these MSMEs, and for those them to just come and set themselves on CFCs and kind of start running. I think there's a lot of effort that goes into setting things up, right? And probably, that's a point that I also, and something that struck me, I think, when there was a session on women entrepreneurship going on, there's amazing ladies speaking about their journey. I think one thing that struck me, and probably I wrote it down, was also about ease of really running the business, and probably ease of exiting the business. Somebody spoke about, I think the BSc gentleman spoke about in the afternoon session about that there are going to be MSMEs that are going to naturally shut down. Are we even letting them shut down really, Because another issue that is there is that they do not have the right kind of resources, so to say. They don't have corporate lawyers or huge resources, so as to fight those arbitration charges and otherwise, Does India today need an NCLT equivalent for MSMEs? That's a question that I wanted to put across. And I remember, when Mahaparvana as a scheme was launched in Maharashtra, the then Honorable Industries Minister Shri Subhash Desai had launched this. Under that was a scheme on actually launching NCLT equivalent for MSMEs, where the smaller enterprises can come and seek support, legal services, or probably services of a chartered accountant, etc., etc. And I really hope all that twines into the new MSME policy that the state of Maharashtra is going to introduce soon. If I had to now probably just probably close down on probably as a closing remark, probably there's this one point that I want to make, and I want to go back to the point I started with. There's just too much of excess dependency on the government schemes, to be very honest. And I've heard people since morning, government should do this, government should do that. And trust me, I'm not a voice or a mouthpiece for the government. I'm just an independent consultant who's in the public policy business. But I think, it's time for the MSMEs to become self-reliant and resilient. And I think if I had to dovetail all of this conversation together that we've spoken of since morning, whether that's about having healthy credit history or paperwork's in place, or the stories or the success stories we've heard, one thing that keeps on coming back to my mind are, there is a lot that the government is doing, there's a lot that the industry bodies are doing, but is the MSME doing enough to sustain itself and to be self-reliant? That's the question I'll park myself with. Thank you so much for this evening, and thanks so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. That was Mr. Adarsh Sharma. I would now request Shri KG Dekate sir to kindly address the audience.
Good afternoon to all. Respected on Dais Ravindra ji Boratkar, Shri Anil Gadre ji, Adarsh Sharma ji और आप सब. मराठी बोलतो. मी उद्योग सहसंचालक मुंबई विभाग. आतापर्यंत तर आशिष सर पण बोलले की गव्हर्नमेंट. तर गव्हर्नमेंटच्या ज्या काही आपल्यासाठी योजना आहे त्या MSMEच्या त्या मी सांगू इच्छितो. तर पहिल्यांदा MSME म्हणजे काय, तर आपल्याला माहीतच असेल की 2006ला MSME ॲक्ट येण्यापूर्वी आपण SSI म्हणायचो, SSI स्मॉल स्केल रजिस्ट्रेशन. तर स्मॉल स्केल रजिस्ट्रेशन घेण्याकरिता जिल्हा उद्योग केंद्र किंवा मुंबई शहरासाठी माझ्या ऑफिसला यावं लागत होतं. तर 2006ला MSME ॲक्ट 2006 इंट्रोड्यूस झाला आणि जे काही MSME SSI registration that has been replaced by MSME Act, and small scale is divided into 3 groups, that is micro, small and medium enterprises. तर मायक्रो म्हणजे काय, आणि त्यानंतर त्यांनी इंडस्ट्रीचे 2 पार्ट केले. वन इज अ मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग अँड अनदर इज अ सर्व्हिस इंडस्ट्री. तर ज्याचं इन्व्हेस्टमेंट हे जर 25 लाखापर्यंत असेल मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग सेक्टरमध्ये, तर त्याला मायक्रो मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग एंटरप्राइजेस. 5 कोटीपर्यंत जर इन्व्हेस्टमेंट प्लांट अँड मशिनरीमध्ये असेल तर स्मॉल मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग एंटरप्राइजेस, आणि 5 कोटी ते 10 कोटीपर्यंत जर इन्व्हेस्टमेंट इन प्लांट अँड मशिनरी मध्ये असेल तर मीडियम मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग एंटरप्राइजेस. हे झाले मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग एंटरप्राइजेस. त्यानंतर सर्व्हिस, दे हॅव ऑल्सो कवर द सर्व्हिस प्रोव्हायडर ऑल्सो. ज्या सर्व्हिस एंटरप्राइजेसमध्ये इन्व्हेस्टमेंट इन कॉस्ट ऑफ इक्विपमेंट, इक्विपमेंटमध्ये जर 10 लाखापर्यंत असेल तर त्याला मायक्रो सर्व्हिस एंटरप्राइजेस म्हणायचं. जर इन्व्हेस्टमेंट इन कॉस्ट ऑफ इक्विपमेंट 2 कोटीपर्यंत असेल तर स्मॉल सर्व्हिस एंटरप्राइजेस, आणि इक्विपमेंट कॉस्ट जर 5 करोडपर्यंत असेल तर त्याला मीडियम सर्व्हिस एंटरप्राइजेस. हे झालं 2020पर्यंत सुरू होतं. 2006 ते 2015पर्यंत यू हॅव टू सबमिट द अप्लिकेशन and the district industry center and joint director of MMR office will issue acknowledgement to you. From 2015, that entrepreneurship memorandum prior to start of commercial production part 1 and after start of commercial part 2 you have to obtain from the industry department. 2015 पासून हे सुद्धा बंद केलं आणि रिप्लेस बाय उद्योग आधार मेमोरंडम. Just you have to go to that portal, that is Udyog Aadhar Memorandum portal. You have to fill your details and you have to submit the information. They automatically certificate will generate. You have to take the printout. अजून 2020ला त्यांनी रिप्लेस केलं उद्यम रजिस्ट्रेशन. कारण की जेव्हा उद्योग आधार मेमोरंडम रिप्लेस करून त्यांनी उद्यम रजिस्ट्रेशन आणलं, प्रक्रिया सारखीच आहे. परंतु केंद्र शासनाने याच्या क्रायटेरिया बदलवला आणि मी आधी सांगितलं की मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग आणि सर्व्हिस याचे कॉस्ट ऑफ प्लांट ऑफ मशिनरी अँड कॉस्ट ऑफ इक्विपमेंट तो क्रायटेरिया बदलून त्यांनी आता इन्व्हेस्टमेंट अँड टर्नओव्हर, समजा मायक्रो म्हणजे इन्व्हेस्टमेंट 1 कोटीपर्यंत असेल आणि टर्नओव्हर 5 करोड असेल तर ते मायक्रो मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग और सर्व्हिस त्यांनी कुठलंच इथे बायफर्गेशन ठेवलेलं नाही. इन्व्हेस्टमेंट 10 कोटीपर्यंत असेल आयदर इन कॉस्ट ऑफ प्लांट अँड मशिनरी और इन्व्हेस्टमेंट इन इक्विपमेंट, आणि टर्नओव्हर जर 50 कोटी असेल तर त्या स्मॉल स्मॉल एंटरप्राइजेस, आणि इन्व्हेस्टमेंट 50 कोटी असेल आणि टर्नओव्हर 250 कोटी असेल तर दिस इज अ मीडियम एंटरप्राइजेस. हा आणि 2020 पासून आपण उद्यम रजिस्ट्रेशन घेऊ शकता. त्या व्यतिरिक्त व्हेरियस स्कीम इज इम्प्लिमेंट बाय इंडस्ट्री डिपार्टमेंट. सम आर दी लोन स्कीम अँड अदर आज एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप डेव्हलपमेंट प्रोग्राम. The Todkar sir is here. He has explained cluster scheme we are also implementing आणि पॅकेज स्कीम ऑफ इन्सेंटिव्ह. तर महाराष्ट्र शासनाची एक योजना आहे मोठी, मुख्यमंत्री रोजगार निर्मिती योजना. तुम्ही जर बसमध्ये बघितलं तर फायनान्सचा एक विषय होता आपला पहिलं सेशनमध्ये फायनान्स. तर फायनान्स बँक करणारच, पण त्या फायनान्सल्या बँकेसोबत जर शासनाचा काही सपोर्ट मिळाला, जर आपण डायरेक्ट फायनान्सिंगला गेलं किंवा बँकेकडे गेलं तर यू हॅव टू डिपॉझिट मिनिमम 25% युअर कंट्रीब्युशन. त्या 25% आपल्याला फक्त 5 ते 10% भरायचे आहे. उर्वरित 15 ते 25% शासन एक सबसिडी म्हणून देणार, म्हणजे मार्जिन म्हणून देणार. दॅट विल कन्वर्ट इंटू सबसिडी आफ्टर 3 इयर्स. तर जी मुख्यमंत्री रोजगार निर्मिती योजना ही 2021 पासून सुरू केलेली आहे. द मेन स्कीम एम प्रमोटिंग द एंटरप्राइज अमंग द यूथ टू क्रिएट लोकल एम्प्लॉयमेंट अँड सेल्फ एम्प्लॉयमेंट. द स्कीम इज इनवाइस ऑफर 15 ते 35% आपण ग्रँटिनेट देतो, ती सबसिडीमध्ये कन्वर्ट होतं. द प्रोजेक्ट कॉस्ट अप टू 50 lakh फॉर मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग अँड 10 lakh फॉर सर्व्हिस इंडस्ट्री. द स्कीम इज इम्प्लिमेंट बाय डिस्ट्रिक्ट इंडस्ट्री सेंटर फॉर अर्बन एरिया, दो अवर मुंबई इज इन अर्बन एरिया. माय ऑफिस इज अ कोऑर्डिनेटिंग ऑफिसर फॉर मुंबई आणि मुंबई ऑफिस फॉर मुंबई अँड मुंबई सबअर्बन. द कंप्लीट स्कीम म्हणजे या स्कीममध्ये जर आपल्याला अर्ज करायचा आहे तर माझ्या ऑफिसमध्ये यायची गरज नाही. यू हॅव टू गो टू maha-cmegp.gov. या पोर्टलला जायचं आहे. आपले जे रिक्वायर्ड डॉक्युमेंट आहे ते स्कॅन करून ठेवायचे आहे. स्कॅन करून केलं तिथे अपलोड करायचं आहे. आपण जसं अपलोड केलं तसं जो अर्ज माझ्या पोर्टलला येईल. त्यानंतर फर्स्ट या स्कीमच्या इलिजिबिलिटी आहे. त्यानंतर प्रोजेक्ट कॉस्ट, पात्रता काय असावी ते लिहिलेलं आहे. त्यानंतर जे मार्जिन मनी आहे, सेल्फ कंट्रीब्युशन, SC ST वुमन अँड फिजिकल चॅलेंज असेल, एक सर्व्हिसमन असतील तर 5%, अदरसाठी 10%. आणि जी मार्जिन मनी आहे दॅट विल बी कन्वर्ट इंटू सबसिडी आफ्टर 3 years. दॅट इज 15 to 25% फॉर अर्बन एरिया. म्हणजे जे आपलं जे बँक लोनचं कॉम्पोनंट आहे दॅट इज 70 to 75% ओनली. नेक्स्ट, द स्कीम इज इम्प्लिमेंटेड बाय नॅशनलाइज बँक, scheduled private bank, that is Yes Bank, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank and Saraswat Co-operative Bank. After sanction by the bank, we are providing a training also. The training is imparted by MCD or Midcon. And our nodal bank is a corporation bank that has been converted to Union Bank of India. Very few document is required for the scheme. That is project profile, domicile certificate, birth certificate, schooling certificate, Aadhar card, land document, caste certificate if required, self undertaking and photo. These are the 4 or 5 documents required for submitting the application. The project cost does not include cost of land. If you purchase a direct rate based sale, the only 20% of the project cost will consider as a cost of built up land and machine building. Project cost will include capital expenditure as well as working capital. The CMEG scheme फक्त जर आपण म्हटलं की स्थिर गुंतवणूक घेतो आणि मी जर वर्किंग कॅपिटल घेत नाही तर या स्कीममध्ये पात्र नाही. या स्कीममध्ये काही इंडस्ट्री आहेत, वी आर नॉट कव्हरिंग अंडर द स्कीम. दॅट इज निगेटिव्ह ॲक्टिव्हिटी. नेक्स्ट, हाऊ द स्कीम इज फंक्शनिंग और वर्किंग. प्रथमतः आपल्याला त्या पोर्टलला जाऊन अप्लिकेशन करायचं आहे. रिक्वायर्ड डॉक्युमेंट अपलोड केल्यानंतर ते जी आपलं अप्लिकेशन आहे दॅट विल कम टू इट ऑफिस पोर्टल, म्हणजे ऑफिस लॉग इनला ते येईल. ऑफिस लॉग इनला आल्यानंतर त्या ऑफिसमार्फत ऑफिसमध्ये आम्ही ते स्क्रुटिनी करू. स्क्रुटिनी झाल्यानंतर एक लिस्ट बनवावं लागेल जे काही इलिजिबल कॅन्डिडेट आहे, ज्यांच्या त्याच्यामध्ये काही जर त्रुटी असतील तर त्या बॅक रेफर त्या पोर्टलवरच आपल्याला ईमेलद्वारे केल्या जाईल. आपण त्या त्रुटीची पूर्तता केल्यानंतर पुन्हा त्याचं घेणं म्हणजे त्या आपण आमच्या लिस्टमध्ये घेऊ. ते झाल्यानंतर जिल्हाधिकारी यांच्या खाली जी समिती आहे DLTFC, त्या समितीमधनं अप्रुव्हल घेऊन युअर प्रपोजल विल बी फॉरवर्डेड टू बँक ऑन पोर्टल. आफ्टर रिसिव्ह पोर्टल टू द बँक विल स्क्रुटिनाइज and sanction, reject, whatever it may be. If the proposal is sanctioned by the bank, it will go to trainings login. We will provide the free of cost training for 1 week and 2 weeks. If the project cost is up to 10 lakh, the training will be for 1 week. If the project cost is more than 10 lakh, the training will be the 2 week. एकदा मंजूर झाल्यानंतर त्यांनी त्याचं ट्रेनिंग घ्यायचं आहे. ट्रेनिंग घेतल्यानंतर त्यांनी स्वतःचं कंट्रीब्युशन बँकेत जमा करून आपलं डिस्बर्समेंट करून घ्यायचं आहे. डिस्बर्समेंट झाल्यानंतर त्यांनी क्लेम द्यायचा आहे. क्लेम दिल्यानंतर जो पोर्टलला म्हणजे हे बँकेचं काम आहे, बँकेने क्लेम अपलोड केला की ते थ्रूआउट म्हणजे व्हेरिफिकेशन होऊन जी मार्जिन मनी आहे ती बँकेच्या लॉग इनला जमा होईल. म्हणजे बँक मॅनेजरकडे जाईल ते मार्जिन मनी आमची जे 15% ते 25% देणार. आणि बँक मॅनेजर काय करेल, जी आपली मार्जिन मनी आहे की ते 3 वर्षासाठी TDR करेल आणि 3 वर्षामध्ये त्याला व्याजसुद्धा देणार नाही. आणि त्या प्रपोर्शनेट अमाऊंटला समजा आपलं 10%मध्ये आपण मार्जिन मनी 10% भरली आहे तर 90% बँकेने फायनान्स केलेला आहे. 90पैकी जर आपली मार्जिन मनी 15% आली तर ती तेवढ्या अमाऊंटला ते व्याज लावणार नाही. आणि व्याज कितीला लावेल, फक्त 75%ला लावेल. आणि 3 वर्षानंतर आपलं सक्सेसफुल बिझनेस जर रन झाला तर ही जी मार्जिन मनी आहे ती आपली सबसिडीमध्ये कन्वर्ट होईल. म्हणजे ॲक्च्युली आपल्याला जे रिपेमेंट करायचं आहे फक्त ते 70 ते 75%च लोनचं रिपेमेंट करायचं आहे. म्हणजे 25% मार्जिन मनी किंवा सबसिडी आपल्याला मिळेल. तर याच धर्तीवर आपली वेळ नाही, त्यामुळे जी पंतप्रधान रोजगार निर्मितीसुद्धा ही सेंट्रल गव्हर्नमेंट MSMEची आहे. प्लीज पुढे सेम आहे. जी आम्ही एक छोटीशी स्कीम इम्प्लिमेंट करतो, रिवाइज सीड मनी स्कीम, ज्यामध्ये सबसिडी नाही आहे परंतु जे सर्व्हिस आणि मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंगमध्ये प्रोजेक्ट येत नाही, ज्यांना ट्रेडिंग करायचं आहे, त्यामध्ये आम्ही जे मार्जिन मनी जर आपण बँकेत गेला तर 25% भरायचे आहे. 25पैकी 15% आम्ही सॉफ्ट लोन म्हणून देतो. त्याचं जे रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट आहे फक्त 6% पर ॲनम आहे. पुढे त्याची इलिजिबिलिटी मी दिलेली आहे. त्यानंतर EDP जे ट्रेनिंगसुद्धा आम्ही एक महिन्याचं, 12 दिवसाचं, 30 दिवसाचं देतो MCD आणि मिटकॉन मार्फत. पुढे जे क्लस्टर डेव्हलपमेंट प्रोग्राम, तर तोडकर साहेबांनी बऱ्यापैकी त्याला टच केलेला आहे. क्लस्टरची योजना आहे राज्य शासनाची आहे, केंद्र शासनाची आहे. परंतु राज्य शासनाची योजना ही ग्रामीण म्हणजे जे आमच्या पॅकेज स्कीमच्या C आणि Cच्या पुढे जर असेल तर त्यासाठी आहे. पुढे पण आपण शहरामध्ये MSCD म्हणजे केंद्र शासनाची MSCD डिपार्टमेंटची क्लस्टर आपण यूज करू शकतो. त्यामध्ये आपल्याला ग्रँटेड रेट दिला जातो 70% ऑफ द प्रोजेक्ट कॉस्ट. समजा जे मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग MSME युनिट आहे ते जर SC ST किंवा वुमन कॅटेगरीचे 50%पेक्षा जास्त असेल तर जे कॉमन फॅसिलिटी सेंटर करता आपण 90% ग्रँटेड रेट गव्हर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया देऊ शकतो. ओके, पुढे पॅकेज स्कीम ऑफ इन्सेंटिव्ह आहे. यावर ही जी स्कीम आहे ती आपलं जे मुंबई शहर आहे, मुंबई शहर अँड मुंबई सब अर्बन डिस्ट्रिक्ट कम्स अंडर A कॅटेगरी. द मोस्ट ऑफ द स्कीम इज फॉर C. त्यामध्ये इंडस्ट्रियल प्रमोशन सबसिडी देतो, इंटरेस्ट सबसिडी देतो, इलेक्ट्रिक ड्युटी एक्झेम्पशन देतो, स्टॅम्प ड्युटीसुद्धा आपण वेव करतो. ह्या व्हेरियस इन्सेंटिव्ह द गव्हर्नमेंट ऑफ महाराष्ट्र इज प्रोव्हाइडिंग टू दी MSME. त्यानंतर SC ST एंटरप्रेनरसाठी भारतरत्न डॉक्टर बाबासाहेब आंबेडकर आहे. इफ द युनिट इज लोकेटेड इन ए कॅटेगरी विल गिवन द इन्सेंटिव्ह ऑफ सी कॅटेगरी. म्हणजे जो ग्रामीण भागामध्ये ज्याला जे इन्सेंटिव्ह मिळतं तेच जर युनिट SC/ST लोकांनी जर आपल्या एक झोनमध्ये मुंबईला जरी टाकलं तरी त्यांना तिथे जे बेनिफिट मिळतात ते त्यांना इथे मिळतील. त्यानंतर वुमेन आणि त्याचप्रमाणे गव्हर्नमेंट ऑफ महाराष्ट्रानं वुमेन पॉलिसी त्याची कंडिशनच एवढी होती की प्रोप्रायटरशिप, पार्टनरशिप आणि प्रायव्हेट लिमिटेड कंपनी असेल तर ऑर डायरेक्टर पार्टनर शुड बी वुमन अँड मिनिमम 50% वर्कर शुड बी अ वुमन. हे जर असेल तर त्याला जे SC/STची जी स्कीम आहे त्याच धर्तीवर आपण सर्व यांना इन्सेंटिव्ह देतो. दीज आर दी सम स्कीम फॉर MSME बाय गव्हर्नमेंट ऑफ महाराष्ट्र. तर मी इतकंच आपल्याला सांगू इच्छितो. आज आपण मला बोलावलं आणि बोलण्याची संधी दिली याबद्दल मी महाराष्ट्र आर्थिक विकास मंडळाचं आभार मानतो आणि थांबतो. धन्यवाद.
Thank you so much, Dekate sir. With that, I would request Shri Ravindra Boratkar ji to kindly address the audience.
Dekate Sahib, Shri Adarsh Sharma ji, my colleague Shri Anil Gachke, Shri Ashish Garde. In fact, very rightly, Shri Dekate ji abhi, he had given some overview of the policies, and he just mentioned to me, and I do agree that we need a full session for the schemes of industries. So next time, maybe at the earliest opportunity, we can have a separate session for your schemes. Thank you so much, sir. I'm aware that after 5 sessions, this was the 6th perhaps, and 30 speakers, I'm certainly sure that you are not much interested to listen to me, but I can assure you that I'll be very brief. I'm not going to talk to you anything new about what MSMEs should do or what the government should do for the MSMEs. That we have grasped throughout the day, and it was indeed a wonderful experience. We had such a wonderful panel of the speakers, and they throw light on various aspects, various opportunities, and various ways in which MSME can gear up and contribute to the national growth. And I'm sure that as a MEDC or as an entrepreneur or as an association, we have all gathered something that we can do to take this journey forward. And here, since I'm talking on behalf of MEDC, I would like to list out a few points I have gathered which MEDC will certainly undertake. First and foremost, as rightly said in the earlier session by Mr. Peshkar, who gave a very good overview of the defense opportunities for the MSMEs in the defense sector. So as suggested by him, I think MEDC will certainly take up to prepare a report about the potential of defense production in Maharashtra. And when we are doing that for the defense production in Maharashtra, I think perhaps it will be a better idea that we can also come out with a research report on opportunities for overall growth sectors for MSMEs in Maharashtra. Defense is not the only sector, there are many other sectors. So it will be good exercise to do this, and I'm sure with help of my colleagues and our resource person, MEDC should take up this job. In the first session, we also heard from the consulates of Japan, Australia, and also from the representatives in the latter session from the European Business and Technology Council, that there exists a greater opportunity for MSMEs to be prepared for collaborations with the foreign companies. Particularly, Japan was very aggressively suggesting that MSMEs should come forward to tie up with the Japanese companies. He elaborated the various companies that are already working with MSMEs, but he also gave some statistics. And that statistic itself shows that there is a huge opportunity. And if we prepare ourselves nicely, we can look forward to good growth for MSME with regard to the collaborations with these countries and the companies there. Mr. Todkar also talked about the CFCs. And I think this is one very interesting area where MSMEs from different sectors rather should take advantage of this scheme. He gave a wonderful example how they have done in Aurangabad. There are so many CFCs now, they are supporting so many verticals of the MSMEs. And I think this is something which should happen throughout Maharashtra. What has happened in Aurangabad should be replicated more in the regions like Kolhapur or Nagpur. I think Pune has few centers, but still there is an opportunity. Mumbai, of course, does have an opportunity. So I think as far as this is concerned, CFC is concerned, it's a wonderful way. With a very minimum investment, these common facility centers can help so many MSMEs. So this is one area where also as an MEDC, we will seek if we can at least inspire few sectors to come together and to at least initiate proposals for certain CFCs, maybe at the different regions in Maharashtra. So with this takeaway, I really thank all of you, though there is going to be a formal vote of thanks, but I do appreciate your presence here throughout the day, and I wish each of the delegate and each of the speaker who was here all very best, and indeed express my gratitude towards them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ravindra sir. And with that, I would request Mr. Anil Gatske sir, Committee Chairman, MSME and Cooperative Banking, to kindly give away the vote of thanks. And after the vote of thanks, I would request everybody to wait back for the national song.
All the delegates present here for the full day program of the MEDC's MSME conference. First of all, I must thank all of you. Because of you only, this program we could organize, lead and perform. Otherwise, this program without you is an impossible thing. So first of all, I thank all the participants who have come from various locations, various organizations and various individuals. See, we had here participants from various banks, members of the Maharashtra Chamber of Commerce, Maratha Chamber of Commerce, various associations of Mumbai, Pune, Raigad, Ratnagiri, Nasik. From various destinations, all the people had come. There were officers and managers of many cooperative banks who were present here. I must thank all of them. Plus all those who have come on our request email to them, and they have attended, they have registered their names and attended the conference, maybe for one session, 2 sessions, half a day, or all those who are present over here for full day. Our heartiest greetings and gratitude to all of you. My second thanks goes to all the speakers who enlightened us on various subjects. This year's our theme or aim was to give them more information and knowledge about the uncommon things. This is our 15th year of MSME conference, but this year we have changed the theme pattern and took the innovative subjects for conference in order to give more knowledge and information to the participants. So the subject like scaling, subject like incubation, all these new subjects, new in the sense the subjects are not very new, but we had not covered them in our earlier conferences. So these subjects we have covered. Then cluster development. There were 2 lectures of the cluster developments, one from first session, Mr. Karandikar had said, and then in the last but one session, the cluster development done by Aurangabad people have elaborated. So these are the different type of subjects. Scaling is also a different, skill development is also a different type of subject, which is not generally covered under SSI or MSME or SME sectors in past. Last few years only these words have become very common and known to the people. So all those speakers, particularly all the government officers and government speakers came from Government of India and Government of Maharashtra. Many IS officers have also come. Just now you have heard Dekate sir for giving information of his department's facilities available for MSME and what are the various innovative schemes they have, subsidies they give, funds which are organized by government's departments. So like this information, for giving this information, people like Dekate sir has come. There are so many IS officers also had come, and accordingly they have shared their views, their experience, their knowledge to us. We are very much thankful. MEDC is very much thankful to all these government officers, as well as officers and banks manager who came over here for giving their schemes, whatever the different schemes they have for finance. Similarly, one innovative mode of capital generation. We were all these years thinking only private funding or own funding or banks funding or NBFC's funding. But from stock exchange we can raise the funds and install the capital. We can do that. This scheme was given by, this knowledge, this information is given by Bombay Stock Exchange MD. So this was the new subject we had added over the years. So similarly, so many other subjects like defense cluster, defense innovation, and there are some encouragement, boosting the enthusiasm for which success stories were told by women entrepreneurs. All these speakers, we are very much thankful to them for sharing their views, experience and knowledge. Besides that, this program was not possible without a strong backing of the funds from our sponsors whose names are over here and over here. In particular, all support and funding was organized by Government of India's MSME department. They had given the good support, and Government of Maharashtra's MEDC, who has given the funds also. MEDC joint CEO also had come. Like that, there are many other sponsors who have funded us, and without whose cash help or funds, this seminar, this conference was not possible. Organizations like Reliance, RCF, CDB, OBT, Central Bank of India, Union Bank of India. So all these organizations, have given us support, and automatically we had also very much thankful to all these organizations for giving a support for a right cause. Cornerstone is one organization who has also given some information, and they have given the brochure which we have kept in the kit bag also. All this possible because of the funds, manpower of the speakers and the participation of the in this hall. But to make all these efforts successful, there are all backstage activities required, like hall, making available hall by IES Society. Their staff who have helped us since yesterday afternoon. We were here for making all the arrangements which are seen over here, because of which all the information and knowledge will reach to you through various means. Cameras are here, LED projectors are there, all these lights and backdrop and everything was there, all for which the staff of this hotel hall management, then sound recording and projectors and all these things are made available by various contractors, where suppliers, and they have made our reaching to you more easy. The police department, who has also given us, the Matunga police station had given us the permission for organizing this, though it was in a closed hall, their permission is required, and accordingly they have given us the permission. We are thankful to them. Whatever literature you have in hand like this or like this, artists who have designed these flyers, people who have drafted all this material, printed material, the printers, we are thankful to all of them. Whatever you are seeing, the things should not look very odd or dry. So all these flower arrangements and everything has come, all the whatever decoration you are seeing over here, it has been organized by flower decorators and other decorators. We are thankful to Mr. Dilip, who is a man behind it, and he has done a lot of efforts till midnight. He and his staff was serving for making the things bearable and nice to eyes. Here I must mention a specific thing, that this time we had lot of individual MSME entrepreneurs and units who have registered and come and joined. All these years we were not making the registration mandatory through Google form, but this year we have done it, and we had a fantastic response. 587 people registered. Maybe about 65% people have joined actually. Now after lunch generally there is a dearth of audience, but I am thankful to you, all of you who are with us till end of the program. And this program was basically successful, as well as we are glad that we have shared lot of information with our participants. At the end, I must thank all my colleagues, cooperation given by our President Shri Ravi Boratkar, Meenal Mohadikar, Ashish Garde. Though I may be the chairman of the organization, but I cannot do everything alone. Without the help of my colleagues, this event was impossible. And same thanks goes to our staff member and who are all volunteers who have come over here from various management colleges. All these people have helped, worked day and night for last over a month. I used to phone many of them at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, or wait in the office till 7:30 every day for making this event successful, and all of them have cooperated from bottom of their heart. I am thankful to them. not but the least, this program was anchored by Shraddha Shinde. I must thank her. She has done a wonderful job. And she prepared the text, she practiced it, and she kept in front of you. Her efforts, individual efforts, and her skill is definitely helpful to the success of this conference. Thank you, Shraddha.
Thank you so much.
With this, I think we will close now, and our similar love and affection and attendance you will give us in our forthcoming events also. Though this MSME event is a once in a year, we have lot many years. Those who want any information, those who want any help or some kind of channel for giving complaints or giving assessment to the government, MEDC's doors are always open. I appeal to all of you, those who are, for whom it is possible, please join MEDC as a member. We have different categories of memberships, right from annual membership to the patron membership. So whichever suits you or whichever is applicable to you, I request all of you to join MEDC by being getting a membership of MEDC. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Anil sir. With that, I would request everybody to kindly stand up for the national song. Thank you so much once again, everybody, for joining in at MEDC MSME Conference 2022.
Friends, I have mentioned the name of Shraddha for her excellent commentary. But one more girl who was helping us day and night of MEDC staff, she's an associate director of MEDC. Where is she? Ananya Premnath. She has really worked very hard day and night, and I don't know, but she is proceeding for the higher studies to UK. So give all of you, give her best wishes and all the success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Once again, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining in at MEDC MSME Conference 2022. And please don't leave before having refreshments. We have tea and refreshments for everybody on the second floor. And for all the students that have joined in today, I would request them to wait back and kindly collect your certificates, and only then you leave. Thank you so much.